intro here. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to PBA at Noon. I'm Paul Benwell, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sophie Caesar. Today, we're happy to welcome back Sylvain Laberge, President and CEO of 1844 Resources. 1844 is an exploration company focusing on grossly underexplored regions in the Gaspé and Chibougamau, Quebec. They trade on the TSX Venture under the symbol EFF. With global copper demand forecast to significantly outstrip supply, finding economic projects in the near term is paramount to importance to maintain the course of economic recovery and the ongoing shift into greener technologies. 1844 is well positioned in this capacity. Sylvain is here today to update us on the current status and future activities of the Vortex copper and the native copper projects, both located on the Gaspé Peninsula. Salut, Sylvain. How are you, man?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Whenever you're ready, go ahead, and we'll have some questions for you at the end.
Okay. Here, I'm going to share my screen.
Yes, sir.
Are you getting this?
Perfect. Looks good.
All right. So, hi, everyone. Hope you're well. Hope everybody's very healthy, and just wishing to get back on track after that pandemic. So here's our presentation. We did one a couple of months ago, and was actually focused more on our project on Lac Arsenault, because we were entering into a phase of drilling. But now we're pending results, so we wanted to expose our two projects in the copper sector and to educate people on why we are so keen on copper. So we're reigniting the Gaspé Peninsula. We've been there since 2009 privately, 2012 publicly. And we have definitely been probably the only company, being active in the sector in the Gaspé Peninsula. Whoop. Okay, so forward-looking statement is the usual. I think everybody has one, and everybody wants to read it. I'll send it to them. So demand is growing on copper and gold. The third most consumed industrial metal in the world is copper. It's increased. There's an increased use in the medical industry as a natural antimicrobial contact killer. There's an increase in copper demand in renewable energy sector and traditional systems, and generation of solar, hydrothermal, and wind energy. There's going to be an increased copper demand to manufacture electric vehicles versus conventional vehicles. I'll take 2 seconds on that one. A standard vehicle, let's say a BMW A3, consumes 25 kilos of copper. If we would to transform that car into an electric vehicle, same size, we're looking at about 100 kilos. So we're multiplying by 4 the consumption of copper in an electric vehicle. So the copper charts are, we went public in 2012. Then we announced that we had a discovery in June of 2012, and then price of copper started dragging down. From 330, it went all the way down to $1.99. Sector was really not in favor. 5-year gold chart, same thing. Gold was trading in the surroundings of 1200, 1250. And then we saw what happened in the last couple of years, went over $2,000 last year. And right now is trying to set a floor in the sector of 1769, 1780, somewhere around there. So it's probably gonna have a good increase in the next couple of months. So 1844 resource, if we look at our project acquisition, Vortex Copper was the initial project in 2012. Lac Arsenault, the polymetallic project, we had it in 2018. And native copper, We acquired through the first 39 claims through prospectors in 2019, and then we increased that position. Early exploration on the property, soil and surface sampling has been done. Geophysics on 2 of the property has been done. And we are looking in doing the geophysics on our native copper in Q2 this year. So drilling in 2012, core drilling program was on Solipec East, where we made the discovery. And in 2000, a 2,000-meter core drill program was completed at Lac Arsenault a month ago. And the samples are in the lab and we're pending assays. And as pretty much everybody knows, the labs are kind of slow these days, and we're waiting for all our results before we issue any press release. In 2017, we came out with an NI 43101 compliant resource calculation on our Solipec deposit on the Vortex projects. So location, and so we're in the Gaspé Peninsula. Why? It's a district scale copper and gold region, home to the largest copper mine in North America for over 45 years. The Noranda Gaspé copper mine was in production from 1954 to 1999 and produced 141 million tons at 0.85% copper, 2 open pit, and the last zone were the E zone, rich 3% and over, but they're at 600 meters depth, and the mine was closed before they could put this in production. There was an evaluation done in 2017 through a major company and us, and there's still probably mineable 281 million tons in the ground right now at Murdochville. Infrastructure, the other reason why we're in that surrounding is we're paved primary and secondary highways or roads around us, and it's an established mining jurisdiction. Why is it underexplored? Gaspé has been largely ignored since they closed in 99. 1844 is probably the most active. There was a couple of other companies, but as soon as they, they did some work, and I'll explain that when I talk about native copper. To export our project, if it goes into production, we're 93 kilometers from deep water port, and there's 3 of them. So either way, we are very close to ports. So on a map, this is what it looks like. In green, you have the Gaspé copper mine, which is owned by Glencore these days. We are 23 kilometers west of the mine. We made the discovery in 2012. Native copper is 60 kilometers south of Murdochville, and Lac Arsenault is probably 90 kilometers. And between Lac Arsenault and native copper, we have about 30 kilometers in forestry roads where it's very accessible. So accessible that we spent, the 2000 this year program working on drilling, and it was accessible all winter. So Vortex, it adjoins the Glencore SOCAM property, which is in the green in the corner here. This is Glencore and SOCAM. This is a portion they own. Solipec East is this portion here, where we made the discovery in 2012. And this is the Solipec deposit, where we came out with 2.24 million tons at 1.09% copper. The other portion of Solipec deposit is owned by Glencore SOCAM. If we put them together, we're looking at 5.5 million tons at 0.88%. Is it possible to put that in the mine? If I was a private company, probably would put it in production. It's doable. But what we want is to enlarge this discovery that we made way back in 2012. Native copper is a greenfield copper exploration. It now, like I told you, we acquired 39 claims in 2019. When we did our due diligence, we realized that it was a huge play. There's 5 known showings on our property. There was some values up to 5.38% copper. There was prospecting and trenching that was done since the early 70s. And there's multiple mineralized copper zones. And if you look at everything in black, this is what we have under our portfolio. And the little section in yellow that you're looking at right now, we're finalizing a contract with NiStar. To give you a little bit of an history why nobody has worked more on the property. Back in the 70s, it was a private company. They discovered native copper, which is like if you had native gold or effet pépite. That native copper was mined in those days. They extracted 6,000 tons that they sold to the recycling manufacturer, in Montreal. And after that, it was acquired by a couple of other companies. And the people that worked the most on it were Metco. Florent worked on that property for a couple of years. He's the one who made a couple of discoveries. And actually, Metco merged with Breakwater. And what happened, Breakwater, as soon as they acquired that property to develop it, they were acquired them too by NiStar. And NiStar, their interest was really to acquire the zinc mine and the couple of zinc mines that were in Breakwater's portfolio. So what happened is that NiStar never put a penny of exploration on that property. They actually dropped all the claims. Since nobody was interested in the Gaspé region, that's how we were able in 2019 to acquire most of the claims except for the last 35 that we're finalizing right now with NiStar. So our expectation is Q2 2021. We want to do an airborne geophysic on the property. There's a technical 43101 to determine our exploratory and drilling plan for 2021 and 2022, plus the budget for the next 3 years. That should be out sometime soon, and very soon. So you just keep an eye on it, follow me on my press releases, and you'll probably see it. Lac Arsenault, I won't talk too much about it because the last presentation we did was mostly based on that. Lac Arsenault, we had some surprise. We did some geophysics last year. We discovered secondary faults. It's along the Grand Pabos Fault in the Gaspé region. The Grand Pabos Fault extends for about 400 kilometers. There's a couple of deposits on it. There was discoveries on Reboul. There was discovery on another project a little bit further west. And but the geophysics gave us really a signature that there's the secondary faults on the project are adjacent to our already known vein system. So if you see here, L4W, there was a corridor or a secondary fault, same thing for Mesereau, same thing for Baker, and same thing for Marleau. So following this geophysics, we decided to do some PP on the ground, induced polarization, and we had some very good answers and very good reaction to chargeability. So we decided to go and drill it. So that's the program that we did starting in March and ending in the first week of April. And like I said before, we're pending some some assays right now. We're pending results. Historically, there was 5,000 meters. It's a rich zone. Gave up to 9 grams per ton of gold, 179 grams per ton of silver on certain vein system. Last year we did a lot of work on it, and we will evaluate the project as soon as all our results are in and see what we're going to do with it. One thing I forgot to tell is Solipec East in Q3 this year, we want to do a 4,000 meter drill program on the project. So the Davidson project is a joint venture that we have with GA McLeod Exploration, native exploration company. We're just south of an old producer, the Icon mine, produced 1.6 million tons of copper at 3.07. It was a rich zone. We went there last year, but due to the pandemic, it's a little bit of a problem because we're right beside the Mistassini Cree Nation village, and we're not allowed to go to Mistassini. We're not allowed to go close, and so there was some access issue for last year, which should be resolved this year, and we'll reevaluate the project and see what we want to do with it. So we're committed to reignite the mining region. So we're known copper producing region. It's a known gold producing region. It's underexplored for decades. That's why we're very keen on it. So our goal, our priorities is Gaspé Peninsula, mostly copper focus, with plus our polymetallic that could pay off. And then our Vortex, we are talking about 7,000 meters, but it should be back to about 4,000 guaranteed, and maybe 7,000 depending on what kind of money we can raise this year. Pursue our discussion with Glencore SOCAM to acquire the other portion of the deposit. Then in native copper in Q2, airborne survey, Q2 technical 43101. And La Carceneau, we have completed the drill program. We'll announce the assays as soon as they come out. So our team is me. Bernard Olivier is my geology manager. Andrew Davidson has been there since the beginning with me. He's the CFO. A lot of experience. He's the CFO of 49 North, my majority shareholder. Plus, he's the CEO of Royal Helium based in Saskatchewan. So we work pretty much together in most of the companies. I'm on the board of Royal Helium with them. Tom McNeil is the president 49 North. He's president of Omanika and our chairman in EFF. Denis Clément, some people might know him. He's from Toronto. Studied here in Montreal at Sir George Williams. He started the old Cambiar mine back in Guyana. He started a company to revisit the project. Pierre-Yves Larose, independent director, and he's an engineer geologist. He worked for Chevron for many years, retired a couple of weeks ago. He's bringing a lot of experience. He worked in the Gaspé region way back. He worked in the Chibougamau region when he came out of school, so he's got knowledge of the sectors. As you know, Bob Wares has been on my advisory board since 2013. Still is. We still talk on a regular basis. And we are very proud of having him on our advisory board. Alain Bénin, a lot of you know. He's been named to my advisory board a couple of months ago. He's giving me a hand on everything that concerns IR and marketing. Shares outstanding, 50 million shares, 2 million in options, 25 million in warrants. That at the end of the month of May, there's about 4 million warrants that will fall down. They were issued way back, and the strike price is 16 cents. Fully diluted, we're 78 million shares. A weekly high, or the yearly high, sorry, is 11.5 cents, and our low was 3.5 cents. Management and insider, we control 22%. Friends and family, 25%. Institutional and companies, they own 18%. So we manage pretty much 65% of the company. So this is our details, our website. You can follow us on LinkedIn, and go ahead. If you have questions, I'm ready to answer, and either in French or English or not Italian.
Sylvain, thank you so much. That was a great presentation. So I guess let's start off with, I know you have a lot going on, but if you had to say your main focus right now, you know, in the next 3 months, what would you say it is?
So it's going to be Vortex. It's going to be on the Solipec East discovery, and we are preparing ourselves to go and drill, to start with a program of 4,000 meters. The permits are already been requested. We started, you know, we went back into our data, because since we made the discovery in 2012, it gave us a lot of time to, you know, boil up and brew everything on that project. We went back to an old report that Bob Wares did back in 1989 about the potential of that property. What people have to understand is that when we made the discovery, there was 2 trenches that were done, and we're finding the same horizons or the same geology that there was at Murdochville. So it was identified at Murdochville. There's certain types of horizons that will carry the gold, not the gold, but the copper. And those horizons, we see them on surface in Solipec East, where we recognize the Forillon horizon and the Indian Point and the Indian Cove. And the majority of the discovery, like the E zones, were on the upper section of the Indian Point and the lower section of the Forillon. Since we know they're there, they have been pleated, they have moved. So we have to go and drill on the east side of the discovery to understand and to identify the same kind of structures, and that was his say when we came up to him in 2013. But at the same time, we want to focus on that project, because it's not only like something small, it's like a kilometer in diameter. And it's very interesting. All the signature is there to make discoveries.
So we know that your infrastructure is phenomenal, but can you discuss a little bit more about the infrastructure at the Vortex property?
At Vortex, we're going in through forestry roads, so it's accessible by pickup. It's not like we're not in the middle of the bush. If I compare it, let's say I compare it to our Davidson project. Our Davidson project is very hard to get access to.
Okay.
We have to go through a lake, and then it's hard to walk, because everything that was done back in the 80s and 90s, it's all been covered again, and nobody has worked there. It's totally different in the Gaspé region. There's a lot of forestry going on. There's a lot of back roads that are open that we can access, and it's easy. It's not a problem at all. There's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of hunting down up there, so hunters keep the roads open.
The roads clean, yeah.
Yeah.
So now, you know, we've heard that mining is considered essential in Quebec. So what are your COVID protocols on properties and your field work? Like
we have the same, I think everybody in exploration right now has the same protocol. We create bubbles. Like when we did the drilling program, my crew was in one house and the drilling crew was in the second house. The drilling crew were coming out of another program up in Chibougamau, Val d'Or. So they were together in Val d'Or, so they stayed together in PBA. And my crew is the same thing. My crew is, they've been tested before. They go together and they take care. They make sure that everything goes properly.
Okay, excellent. So we have a question. How much cash on hand do you have at the moment?
Right now, we're sitting on $250,000 cash after the program has been paid. So okay. We're not in a bad situation. We have no debt, and we're in a good situation. Like if everything would crash tomorrow morning, we could keep the company open for at least a year and a half. But that's not our game right now. What we'd like, we want to go back to the market. We want to raise money. Definitely, we don't want to raise money at 5.5 cents. Like a lot of people are asking me, where do you see you're going to do your financing?
That was one of the questions I have.
Where do I see it? The market will dictate where I see it. I cannot dictate a price and say we'll do it at, let's say, 12 cents when the stock is at 5.5 cents.
Yeah.
Right now, people have to understand we're a lowball company. What people they're entering into a company right now that is probably at its bottom, and we can we have to go and do some marketing and make sure that we don't do a financing at 5.5 cents.
Okay. So I know you mentioned the Davison project. You have a joint venture. Do you have a joint venture? Are you looking for a joint venture on any of the other projects?
I'm open to every situation.
Okay.
Okay. I cannot say who it is, but on Vortex, I have a CA that is signed with a major company.
Oh, phenomenal.
Will they do something? I don't count on it. Like I'm not a pessimist. I'm more of a realistic person. I just to give everybody an idea, I dealt with Xstrata and Glencore since 2014 on acquiring certain things and negotiating on the last portion of the Suddipeg deposit for the last 4 years. That's only on that deposit. Before I negotiated on something else, it took forever. So right now, I'm not doing, that deal is not with Glencore, but I'm doing something with another company. And when you look at it, they're like, trying to move the Titanic. It takes a long time. So we're not putting all our eggs in the same basket. Yes, it's nice to say we have signed something with someone, but it doesn't mean anything until there's a signature at the bottom of a contract. So that's why we're going forward. We're really planning our program. There's interest to certain companies came up and gave us some interest on native copper. But we want to advance a few things before we do a joint venture on that one. And we're still open to do a joint venture on Lac Arsenault anytime if somebody's looking for a gold project. Like I said before, we're a copper company. Definitely, if the results are extraordinary on Lac Arsenault, definitely we will continue probably drilling. And if somebody wants to come in, we're ready to do a JV on that one. We're a project generator too.
Okay. So Sylvain, you mentioned the Suddipeg project. Is Glencore still in the picture there?
in Sodipec?
Yeah.
Yeah, they own the portion on the south side of Sodipec deposit.
Okay.
So, but they're still there. They haven't worked on it for 4 or 5 years. So
Okay.
it's not of their interest. Glencore are more negotiator in copper and zinc. They're not developer. Look, I'm a very small company. If I had Murdochville in my portfolio with 281 million tons in the ground at $4.50 a pound right now, I would probably start thinking of opening the mine. But they're not concerned about it. They have like,
yeah,
I don't know, 10 mines in the world that are closed. So
yeah. So Paul, did you have a couple of questions for Sylvain as well?
Yeah, Sylvain, very important, your share structure. I mean, you've got 21 million warrants left outstanding, but they're not in the money, right?
no.
So when do they expire? Because then you really only have 45 million shares outstanding.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very low share structure. And you've got cash on hand now, so you're not going to be diluting, you know, very much. I mean, if the stock moves higher, you'll raise money at a higher price. So what's the expiry on those other warrants?
Okay, there's a bunch of warrants at 16 cents that are expiring at the end of May.
Okay.
And I've got another series at 10 cents that are expiring at the end of the year. And there's about 20 million shares altogether that are expiring in 2 years.
Okay.
And the strike price is 7.5 cents.
All right. So you got a potential, and there's no force on these?
There's no force, but definitely if the stock goes to 15 cents, I would say about 20 million of those, 14 million of those warrants will be exercised.
I got you. Perfect. So there's a chance you get some cash. As the stock moves higher, you can get some generic cash coming in through the warrants.
No. Definitely if we get the stock to a certain level, I'm sure we're going to get some cash coming out of there.
Okay.
Now, do you own all the properties outright?
We own 100% of La Casino, 100%. Yeah, we own 100% of everything.
And
there's a NSR of 2% on 30 claims in native copper, and there's a 2% on, I think it's about 6 claims on Vortex. That's it.
So when do you plan, just one last question, when do you plan, I mean, I know the labs are very slow right now, so the drill results are going to be few and far between. That's like everybody else, so it's not unique to you.
No.
But when do you plan to start drilling on a new project?
On Sodipec East?
And when would that be?
Q3.
Q3, sorry. So we're 3 months away.
June, July, Q3. Somewhere around July, August.
Right. All right. Well, with the cash you have on hand, you're moving forward. Everything looks good there. Sylvain, thanks again for presenting, for the update. We'll keep everybody posted on what's going on through press releases. If anybody has any questions, they can direct them to Sophie or I, and we can put you in touch with Sylvain or direct them directly to Sylvain.
And
again, merci beaucoup, Sylvain. Appreciate it.
No problem. And like I said, Paul, a lot of people know me, so they have my phone number. They want to call me, not a problem.
We'll direct traffic for you.
All right.
All right, merci beaucoup. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.